So what we will do is, as we started with a very important session, especially for your placements. Okay. So from here, we will be learning every day a new concept from the latest versions of Java. Okay. We started with Java 8 and 9. And last time we have seen the need of default methods and how it was introduced in Java 8. Today we will be going in depth about private methods and static methods in interfaces. But anyone absent for the last time, I just wanted to have a quick overview of this Java 8 default methods. But again, I wanted to add a point here that I told you like these are the topics which actually fetch you the jobs. This is how it differentiates between your regular JNTU student and the placement ready student because easily you can answer such kind of questions, okay? And you will be more confident enough, and even they would like to take you because they you are ready for the real-time implementations for the projects and all. Okay, so that's why this is very important to know these additional concepts. So this will be a great opportunity having an online sessions where we don't have to bound with JNTU curriculum and all. We can go beyond and we can discuss the depth concept from the lot of concepts, especially functional interfaces and all. They are very important and very depth and very confusing concepts. So moving forward, we will see those concepts as well. Okay. And second thing is if you wanted to go for certifications like Oracle Certification Associate and Oracle Certification Professional, then this concept becomes mandatory if you're writing Java certification in 9, 10, or any other version. So this becomes mandatory, and many of the questions can be from these topics. Okay. Keeping all these things in mind, I will just give a quick overview of the default methods added in Java 8. Okay. And then we will go for private and static methods from Java 8 and Java 9. Okay. Now, we have seen already like how we used to write methods, I mean, interfaces till Java 7. I told you till Java 7, interfaces were pure abstract classes where you can only have abstract methods and constant variables. Okay, you can only have abstract methods and constant variables. We have seen in our implementation as well, like when I try to provide the body or when I try to provide the implementation of my method inside the interface, we got an error. We got an error that you cannot have a method with the implementation because the methods in the interfaces will be by default abstract. So you cannot have the implementation for the method. We have also seen a couple of examples to understand. Let's say we have seen an example like we create an employee class with a work method and get paid method. Okay. And then we implemented many classes from here. We implemented many classes. Let's say we implemented a junior developer class where it overrides this work method, it overrides the get paid method and all, right? So this program works fine, compiles fine, runs successfully, perfect. We also had a similar example with the animal class. Okay. I told you, like, if you have an animal class like this, okay, we have methods like eat, sleep, sound, and all, and it has been implemented by many classes. Let's say dog, cat, cow, lion. Let's say we have 10,000 classes implementing this animal interface, okay, which has eat method and sound. But the moment I will add this sleep method, okay, all these 10,000 classes will get failed to compile. They will not compile because the rule is the moment you implement any interface, it must override this sleep method as well because sleep is an abstract method. So it must override this sleep method in every class. So all these 10,000 classes will get failed because you're not implementing the sleep method inside the classes now. So that is the biggest problem I have shown you. Like you cannot have any enhancement to the interfaces. Once it's defined, it's defined. So you need to write another interfaces, implement methods into it. So it's very tricky and doesn't suit for the Java implementation perspective. So in continuation, I told you, let's say the HR department Besides, every employee must know the participant in the mandatory annual review. And then the interface got updated with another method here, like annual review. Then all these classes will not work. Okay, your junior dev implements employee, all these classes will not work because you got a new method added in an interface. Unless and until you don't override this method, it will not be working. Okay. So I hope it will be, yeah, good morning, Yashwant. So it will be a good revision for everyone else, especially who missed our last session. I hope you understood what is the problem with Java 7 implementation of interfaces. A quick response, guys. So we know if you ever wanted to add a new method to an interface, every implementing class had to provide an implementation for that particular method, right? The, this often broke existing code, a big headache for the developers maintain large projects because they have to change every. So what is the solution for this, guys? We have already seen the solution last time. So can somebody tell me, like, if you wanted to make sure that addition to the default methods will not affect other classes? It means if I add this sleep method here, if I add the sleep method here, it should not affect this 1,000 classes. I mean 10,000 classes. Okay, thank you, Navia. So you mean default methods? Okay, that's nice, Sangeeta. So here, default is an access specifier. You get this question in interviews. Is default an access specifier? No, right? Till Java 7, like default is an access specifier, but we don't have a keyword for that. Still, it continues with Java 8 and Java 9. So default is an access modifier with no keyword. But here, default is a keyword introduced in Java 8 to define default methods, guys. Okay. It still be a public method inside the interface because the methods are by default public. So I'm using access modifier as a public, but default is not an access modifier here. It's a keyword to define the method. So we have seen the implementation for this sleep method, okay, that we can actually provide the default implementation for the sleep method by using the default keyword. So here it doesn't mean that I'm using an access modifier called default, okay. I'm actually providing the default implementation for the method. So first time you are seeing a method implementation inside interface. First time you are seeing a method implementation inside the interface because till now we know that interfaces cannot have the implementation of the method. They can only have abstract methods. That's why we used to call them as pure abstract class or 100% abstract class because it will not be allowed to have the implementation for the method. It will not be allowed to have the implementation of the method. And meantime, I revised this concept. I would like to have questions on the concepts, whatever we have discussed so far or last session, especially. That will be help me to make sure like we're all understood and so that we can proceed accordingly. Okay. So default implementation looks something like this. You'll be using a default keyword to tell that I'm going to provide the default implementation for this sleep method. Okay, and return type and everything as usual. Now, the moment cat implements this animal, it's signing a contract with the animal interface that I will be overriding eat and sound method. So it's mandatory to override eat and sound method. You agree? For cat class, is it mandatory to override this eat and sleep method? Yes or no? Yes. Correct? You can just simply type my, okay? So you can just, because I know like chatting is not that easy. I always welcome to have a voice interaction as well. Okay. But your chat at least help me that you're following. Just type Y or N, or if you have some questions, please proceed. Please go ahead with that. But you all doing good. So as I told you, if it's mandatory for the cat class to implement this eat and sound. What about this sleep method? Does cat class has to also override the sleep method as it is present in interface? The cat class, does it has to override the sleep method as well? Not necessary, optional. Very nice, very nice. Now adding the sleep method or more methods inside this interface, will it affect this 10,000 classes now? Will this affect this 10,000 classes implementing this interface? No, right? It will not. Okay, very nice. Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you, Monica. So you don't have to implement, right? So that's the reason of introducing default methods in interviews. I hope now you can tell this in interviews, like why default methods got introduced. You can first talk about the problem with interfaces till Java 7. And in which version these default methods got introduced, guys? Sometimes we know the concept, but we may not be knowing in which version it got introduced. Yes, that's very nice. Okay, that's very nice of you all. Good, great. So it was introduced in Java 8. It was introduced in Java 8, right? So we have seen like default methods got introduced in Java 8 version, okay, and allowed the interfaces owner to provide a basic body for the new method letting old classes compile without changes. Actually, from Java 7 onwards, great enhancements happen. So it's very important. What is the reason behind it? Because Java 5 was the version, okay, where actually a lot of enhancement happens. Then it got slowed down till Java 6. Then Java 7 onwards, there are a lot of enhancements has been taken place. What is the reason behind it? A lot of things got added from Java 7, Java 8, Java 9. Not only this interface related, abstract classes related concept, there are a lot of additional concepts got added. And in interviews, now it's one of the like Java 7, 8, 9 enhancements are compulsory to know for every Java developer. Do anybody knows what is the reason behind it? If you know the history, you can actually answer this question so that you know the importance of these versions Java 7, 8, 9, other than Java 5. Before this, Java 5 was the most popular version of Java. Okay, but after this, Java 7, 8, 9, then 11, all these versions becoming like becomes very popular topic for interviews and all. Okay. The main reason is, in 2010, okay, which company has opted for Java? Because it was earlier with Sun Microsystems. Now, currently, Java is taken care by whom? Oracle. Very nice. Okay. So actually, after acquiring by Oracle, this all enhancement happens. Okay. And the reason also because of the popularity of the Python towards functional programming. So we will see how Java started supporting functional programming with Java 8 onwards. This becomes a very, very important concept because still Java 7, like Java was a pure object oriented programming language. But you also know in initial sessions I talked about like Java is no more a pure object-oriented programming language because it do supports functional programming as well. Okay, so we'll talk about it. So this is just I thought of answering this question: why this Java 7, 8, 9 version are so popular in interviews. Now we also seen like Java 8 and 9 introduce major enhancement to interfaces. Now we are just talking about the interfaces enhancements. So I'm sticking to it, but moving forward, we will see other enhancements from Java 8 and 9 as well. So the evaluation of interfaces in Java 8 and 9 solves significant problem like backward compatibility and code maintenance issues, making this topic crucial for the placement. Okay. So by this, you can understand how important these topics are for interviews. How important these topics are for interviews. So with this, I hope we had a good revision for default methods. what the need of default methods, how they look like and all. Now let's move to the next topic. But before that, I just wanted to conclude this with one small, if I can, let me see if I can have small question to conclude. Okay. I think we have seen this before. Now, if you can help me out, what will be the output for this? Okay. Let me just go step by step. So we have a class, sorry, interface called shape. Okay. We have a method like draw, return type is string and it's default. Okay. Meaning I'm providing the implementation for the method inside the interface. Okay. Interface can have no abstract methods now. Okay. After Java 8 onwards, even though we don't have abstract method in interface, it is okay. It's perfectly okay. Earlier to Java 8, it was not possible. Then we are having a class which implements the shape. And even though it's no need to override this draw method, but still I have an option to draw, right? But make sure you make use of public, no need to write the default keyword again. Okay? No need to write the default keyword again. We'll use default keyword only inside the interface for providing the implementation for the default methods. For providing the implementation for the default methods. But still I override here and then I say return drawing a circle class overrides. This is interface default method and this is overridden by the circle class. Okay. Now if I have this basic shape, okay, which is also implemented from shape. Now can someone tell me which type of inheritance is this? Which type of inheritance is this? If I have an interface called shape, implement shape into circle and also basic shape implement shape. And here I'm not overriding the any method. And this perfectly okay because it's a default method. Even though you're implementing interface has one method, I'm not overriding it. It's perfectly okay. I'm intentionally not overriding and using the default method. Now, if I make the object of shape new circle, I mean circle object, and call the draw method. Which draw method gets called, guys? Which draw method gets called at line number X? Circle draw method or shape draw method? Circle draw method. Very nice. Okay. Sarika says circle draw method. Very nice. And when I make the basic shape object and referred by S2, now if I call S2 dot draw, which draw method gets called because we don't have that draw method inside basic shape. Interface draw method gets called. Very nice. Yeah, shape draw method gets called. That's nice. Great, right? So I hope by this you got to know like what kind of questions you can expect in companies like TCS and Infosys, and even in Google kind of thing, or some complicated questions can be asked on this topic, right? Okay, that's nice. This is all about a default methods. Now let's move to the next topic here. Okay, so before we move to the next topic, I have one question for you all. Okay, let's answer this question. Listen very carefully because this will help you to make you understand the need of the next topic actually. Okay, so I want everybody's attention because till now we were actually did a quick revision. It took me half an hour, but I guess 20 minutes. It's good for all of us to have a continuity because last class we have to stop at some time, right? Because it was late, so we have stopped at some point of time. Now we wanted to continue, but having the previous knowledge is very, very important to understand the next one. So that's why I spent this 20 minutes so that I can have at least a quick overview of the default methods. Now, before I conclude the default methods and go for this, you please go through meantime about this. I have few questions on this actually, uh, but I want a quick response from everyone, possibly a question from the previous concepts, so that we will conclude that concept and go for the next concept. If there is no question, please can type Y in the chat window so that I get clarity like everybody is following. I mean, everybody followed the default methods till now. You're all good with default methods now? That's nice. Great. Now, look at this code now. Okay, thank you all. Look at this code now. We have interface called calculator. Okay, we have an interface here called calculator, and we are providing a default method. Let's say we are providing a default method called add, and we have taking input like scanner SC is equal to new scanner. We are telling enter some numbers. You're reading some numbers and writing the logic for addition. Okay, writing the logic for addition. Clear with this add method? Can we have this add method inside calculator interface? Can we have such add method inside the calculator interface? Yeah, Monica says yes. Navya says yes. Thank you. Great. Great. Now, you see, we have another method called subtract. Okay, where we are taking input into numbers from the user and writing the logic for subtraction. Okay, we are writing the logic for subtraction. Now, looking at this code, do you see any problem? I mean, will this code compile or not? Let's say we have the complete logic, just one line addition and one line subtraction here. Okay. But my question was different. So I'm not worried about the output right now. Okay. But do you see this program compiles or not? I mean, at least this interface, will it get compiled or not? Main method, I'm just talking about the interface, guys. Okay. Let's not talk about the main method for now and implemented classes and everything. I'm not talking about it. Just this interface, will it get compiled or not? I'm not talking about the execution now because main method comes when we actually start executing the code. Okay, everybody thinks this code will compile. Yeah, Vishnu thinks no. Yeah, Vishnu, why do you think like this interface will not get compiled? Do you see any problem? Acha, okay. Fine. So let's say I'm importing that as well. Okay. Importing the scanner. Now you think it will get compiled. Do you see any problem inside the interface implementation? Do anyone see any problem? Okay. Let me tell you the code looks good and it will get compiled because I can have multiple default methods. Okay. I can have multiple default methods, multiple implemented methods in the interface with no abstract method. This looked very weird before Java 7, right? But Java 8 onwards, this is perfectly allowed having multiple add. So there is no compile time error, but there is one issue with this code. Can someone tell me what is the issue with this code? This will help you to understand the next topic. So always understand the problem, then I will tell you the solution. So Java A has provided this uh, default method implementation and backward compatibility, but it got some issues. Okay, default void sub. Okay, that's correct, right? We can have default void sub. Looks nothing wrong at this line, Yashwant, but you wanted to say anything? Cannot contain main method. You can, acha, it cannot contain main method, but you can write main method in another class, right? Who implements it? We need to initialize it immediately as we created the variables. Yeah, we are actually taking input, right? This is inside the method. Actually, let me tell you, Varshit. These are inside the method, so they are local variables. They are not interface variables. Okay. Local variables are not by default static and final, remember. So that's some completely different between interface variables and local variables to make you understand. But thank you all for telling me like what could be the wrong things here. I wanted you all to know that is it right or wrong to have these kind of things. Okay, that's most important. Okay, still wanted, did not get the right answer, so still wanted to check with everyone here. Like, do you see any problem with this code? Do you see any problem with this code? Okay, I'll help you out. I'll show the options. Okay, you please try to pick up the correct option. These are the options. What do you think? Which option is most close to the given problem? Option A, this code will cause a diamond problem because the methods are similar. This code illustrates duplication in the setup logic. This is the optimal way to write the code in the modern Java interface. This will give a compile time error because a scanner object cannot be created in an interface. What do you think? Which option you think is the most closest to the given problem? Okay, okay. I started getting the answers. And if you're thinking like it's not imported, I told you, like, say we have imported the scanner class. Okay, we have imported the scanner class. Okay, I getting a different answers, but that's good. That good for open up the discussion. Okay, let me tell you like why other options are wrong and what was the correct answer. I'll go with option D first because many of you have opted for option D. So I'll tell you option D has no problem at all. We are not creating the scanner object directly inside the interface. I'm creating inside the default implemented method and it's perfectly okay. If you are importing the scanner class, then it's perfectly okay to have the scanner object created. So option D has no problem at all. Okay. Uh, so nothing wrong with option D. And option C is wrong because this is not optimal way. I'll tell you why. Okay. Even option A is wrong because the code will cause a diamond problem. No, because the methods are not similar. Methods are different. Methods are different. So the correct answer here is we only receive from one of you, which is option B. Option B. If you look at the previous code, don't you think here that lot of code is repeated here? Let's say we have this calculator. We have this. Do you agree? This line is repeated. This line is repeated. This line is repeated. This line is repeated. Correct? Scanner, making scanner object, asking number to enter, taking the inputs. Same way for subtract. Okay, same way for subtract. Again, these lines are repeated, 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 and then we perform subtraction. Suppose if we have multiplication, division, and all, you all will be having these methods repeated for number of times. In real time scenario also, you may come across with this problem. You may come across with this problem. So, what was the problem with default methods? When you have a lot of default methods in interface, you can see a lot of code will be repeated inside the default methods. Lot of code will be repeated inside the default methods. Agree with this, guys? Agree with the problem? So what will be the solution, guys? What do you think the solution could be now? So option B is correct because code duplication, the steps for creating the scanner and reading the input are repeated in both add and subtract method. So this is a poor practice. Okay. So all other options goes wrong. Option B is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Okay. Now I wanted to see from you all what will be the solution for this. What do you think? How we can actually provide solution? Okay, that's very nice of you, Navya. But where should I do that? Inside add method or subtract method? Where should I do that? Inside add method or subtract method? But I wanted to see that where should I provide, as you say, like we can take input once and pass it as a parameter. But for this code, it's okay. But what if you have the similar problem, Navya? Like a lot of code is repeated in different methods and all. What could be the best possible solution for it? Okay. So I'll give you one solution. Can we add one more method? A common method for both add, subtract, multiply, divide, and everyone, which only takes responsibility for taking input and creating scanner object, all that stuff, correct? And it can be used by other methods, right? So I need to create one more default method, right? One more default method, okay, where I can just write the common logic and other default methods will be make use out of it, correct? Okay. So very nice. I hope you all agree. At least you all agree, got to know what is the problem, guys. Because unless and until you don't understand the problem, you will not understand the solution. You'll always have this doubt why. Okay. So I want all of you to just make sure, like, is the problem clear for all? Why the code is duplicate here and all? Now, can I have a guess, like, what was the feature added to provide the solution and which version? What is the solution added in Java for this given problem, and in it which version? Have a guess, no problem. Have a guess. What is the solution provided in Java 9? That's nice, Anirudh. One guess was right. Java 9, static methods, you mean, Sarika? Okay. The first thing we got a correct guess that Java 9, something got added. Very nice, Yashwant. So it's not static, but it can be solved using Java 8 or above because default and static method interface were introduced in Java 8. Okay, that's nice. That's nice point, Monica. So Java 9 added something called private methods. So as we have learned, Java 8 default methods are great for backward compatibility, but they created a new issue, which is code duplication. So where if multiple default methods needed the same setup code, that code had to be repeated in every method. Java 9 introduced the private methods. Okay, Java 9 introduced the private methods. So this problem has been solved by private methods in Java. So always knowing the problem is more important than going for the solution. Because once you know, even for the interviews, if you directly tell that private methods got added in Java 9, this is how we write it, they may not be happy, they may not be like convinced unless and until you don't show the problem before versions and how it has been solved in Java 9. Okay. So by this, you got to know we will be introducing private methods in interface, which got added in Java 9. Okay, which got added in Java 9. So let's go and talk about what is private methods in interface added in Java 9. So Java 9 fixed this by letting you define a private helper method. Why private helper method, guys? Why not another default method? I guess Navya can help us in that. Why private helper method? Why not we can have one more default method? Come on. I was asking like why we need to have a private helper methods. Why not another default method? Okay, the answer for that is this method, this utility method or the helper method, I mean, basically we call it as helper method, is needed to be used by the same class, right? I don't want this to be used by the other class because it's just defining the common things. Okay, so that's where this private methods got introduced. So you take the duplicated line of code and move them into the private methods. This private methods can only be called by the interface owns default or static methods. It's invisible to any other class. That's what we want. We don't want this to be visible to other classes. That's why Java 9 says that you can make this private methods as well. So if you wanted to have some methods which can be used by the same interface only, then you can go for private. Then you can go for private methods. Let's see the solution now for the previous problem, how private methods will help us to provide the solution for this. Okay. Now we have this interface called calculator, right? Okay, now I wanted to provide the private method. Can someone help me again, a kind of guess how we write a private method? I wanted to have a private method so that I can take input. I mean, create a scanner object, taking input and everything I will do in that private method. So can you just tell me like how private method can be look like? Static we will introduce later, Yeshwant. Let's try to understand what is the need of private method and then we will go for static. Okay. So we will see the need of static method as well. So we have seen what is the need of default methods. Just now we have seen what is the need of private methods in interfaces. Let's see how it is implemented and then we will go for the static methods. I hope this addition knowledge is giving a lot of confidence to you because now you know something extra, right? You know what is default methods, what is private methods, what will be the static method. Private void helper method, very nice. Thank you. Nice. Okay, so I'm making a private method like this. So need scanner setup. Okay, so now let's see how we actually define the private method inside the interface. Okay. Now, if you look at this method inside the interface called calculate, we are making a private method that holds the common setup and the logic. So I define a private keyword to define the private method. Void. Okay, now the access modifier is it's an access modifier. So you cannot now it's not public. Now it became private. Now from Java 8 onwards, okay, I mean Java 9 onwards, sorry, that your methods in interface can also be private. Whereas till Java 8, you see that methods in interface are by default public. You cannot make it as protected, private, or default. But from Java 9 onwards, your methods can also be private. This kind of questions you get in interviews. Okay. So private methods are allowed from Java 9 on. So private void calculate, and we have the argument here for taking what operation you want to perform. And then we are making the common logic here, scanner object making, entering the number, okay, accepting the numbers from the user. And then if it is equals to add, I'm adding. If it is equals to subtract, I'm subtracting. So this way, you can have the common logic inside the private method now. And you where I'm writing this private method inside the interface. Inside the interface. Clear, guys? How our private method will look like? I'm using private. Very nice. Thank you, Monica. Private, and we are using the return type, the name of the method, that helper method, and we will be providing the option, okay? Because here I'll be selecting whether to add or to subtract or to multiply. So I need some input for that. So I'm taking that as an argument and writing the common logic here inside this private method. I'm writing this common logic inside this private. Clear for all? Is this clear? Is this code clear that how I provided the private method inside the interface? Okay. Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Abhinay. Nice. Okay. So now how our default methods will look like now. How our default methods will look like. Do I need to write that scanner object creation, input, and everything again? No. What I will do here, Pawan? What I will do inside the default method? Just call that private method, right? You all agree with Pawan? We just need to call the private method and pass the argument whether I wanted to add or subtract or delete or what. Okay. I simply provide the add method and I will calculate and provide the argument to add or to multiply. That's all. Simply my subtract method, multiply method, divide method will look like this. Now you see a lot of duplication code can be avoided. So you can treat that private method as an helper method because all common logic I can write in private method and then I can access them inside the other methods. So I hope with this you all got to know what is the need of private methods. Is this clear for all? Simple topics, okay, but very important. Okay, let's see your understanding with one example. Let's have a quick quiz now. Okay, now what is the following statements are true about Java 9 private methods? They can be called outside the interface using implementing class. They help in removing code duplication inside default methods. They can be abstract or final. They can be called only within the same interface. Which options you think is correct for Java 9 private methods in interface? If you understood the concept behind the introduction to private methods, you will answer this up correct. Okay, fine. So I'm getting right answer from everyone here. That's very nice. Why option A is wrong, guys? Nobody opted for option A. Why option A is wrong? They can be called outside the interface using implementing class. Can class implementing that interface cannot be accessed? Implementing this any class cannot be accessed this method. Why this option A is wrong? I mean, the first option is wrong. Anyone? Why the first option is wrong? Okay, access modifier is private, and you mean you cannot access private. Then where we can access that method, Sangeeta and even Navya? Where we can access this method? Because private is within the same interface. Okay, that's nice. Inside that interface only we can access. We cannot even access in the implemented classes, correct? Can I make protected methods, guys, inside the interface? Can I make protected methods? No, till now you have no information, right? You cannot make protected. Can you make default access specifier methods? Or in short, I can ask you from Java 9 till Java 9, what are the access modifiers allowed for methods in interface? What are the access modifiers allowed in interface? Public and private. Very nice. Is it default allowed? Is it default allowed? No, right? Only public and private. Default is to define the default methods, but not as an access modifier. That's very important. So I can see very clear understanding from everyone here. The option A is wrong because we cannot access private methods outside the class. And they help to remove the code duplication. And that's the main reason we have seen for providing the private methods in interface. They can be abstract or final, no, because final and abstract doesn't make sense for private methods. They're implemented methods. The abstract and final both make no sense actually. Okay. They can be called only within the same interface. Yes, they can be called only from the same interface. So option B and option D is correct. Okay, option B and option D is correct here. So which one is correct, guys? Which option is correct here? B, right. So option B is correct. Why? Private methods improve internal code reuse and only accessible within the interface only. Okay, within the interface only. One more question to conclude this private methods. Let's see. We have an interface I. We have default void greet helper. Okay, and then we have provide private void helper, private method called, end of this method. Now inside the test class, which implements I, we have a main method and new a.greet. If I call, what will be the output for this? Will I get error? Or if no error, what will be the output? Now, I hope when you look at this code, first of all, it's very readable to you all, because if you don't have the knowledge of default methods and private methods, how we define, then obviously we'll always go with the wrong options. Because unless and until we don't have 100% knowledge on the concept, then you always go wrong with the options in certifications as well as in, right? So, what do you think, guys? Do you think it gives you an error? Actually, yes. Let me just correct it. It's not even new I. Okay, let's say it's new test. Actually, new I is not possible at all. You agree, Sarika? I cannot do new I. You know why I cannot do new I? Yeah, that's nice. I have corrected. Actually, it was test. Yeah, as it is interface, you cannot instantiate. That's nice. Okay. So it's new test.greet. Actually, the class name was A, so I changed to test. Okay, as per the question, but I forgot to change here. It's my bad. So please now you can answer what will be the output for this. And very, very nice, Sarika. Thank you. You correctly pointed out. And I hope you also know like new I is not possible because it's an interface. You cannot instantiate it. Okay, we will be getting error if I say new I. Okay. Uh, so output is private method called. Okay. Nice. Let me show you the options now. Options are, oh, okay. Private method called, compilation error, runtime error, or no output. Option A is correct as you all said. Helper is a private method inside the interface and can be used by default method greet. You're calling greet, greet is calling private method. It's okay. Will not get any compilation error here, Yeshwant. Why you think that it will give you compilation error? Look at the code again. Please let me know if any of the line you didn't follow. I will explain you. Let me explain quickly line by line what happens here. So the execution starts from main, right? New test as it is implementing I. So I'm making an object of this new test. Okay, new test. So and calling the greet method because greet method is available to test. I can't call it. So this looks perfectly okay. If you have doubt at this line, then it's perfectly okay. I cannot say new I dot greet. This is wrong. New I dot greet is wrong because I cannot make the object for interface. I cannot make the object of interface. So this is wrong. This is not allowed. Whereas new test dot greet is allowed because test is a class. I can make an object of test class. It's a concrete class. And I can call the greet method because it is implementing interface. So this is perfectly fine. Now this greet will call the greet method of the interface. It further calls the helper method. Directly I cannot call helper method. Directly I cannot call helper method. In place of this new test, if I say helper, what do you think, guys? What will happen at this line now? Instead of greet, if I might have called this helper, what will be the output at this line? Error. Okay, we will get a compilation error. Why we will get compilation error at this line? Because it's a private method, right? I cannot call from outside, even though it's a child class. Even though it's a child class, we cannot access private method outside the classes, even in not inside the child class, even not inside the child class. Okay, so that way you can see here that output is private method called. Yeshwant, is this clear for you now? That how this private method called is getting printed? Okay, that's nice. Thank you for your question, Yeshwant. Now, with this, let's get into static methods. Okay. I wanted to wait before we get into static method and why we need static methods in Java. And again, can I have a guess in which version it got introduced? Meantime, others can have questions. Okay. In which version you think static methods got introduced in interfaces? Static methods were there from the beginning, right? But static methods from in interfaces got introduced in which version? Okay, I'm getting mixed answers, but let's wait for others. Meantime, I want others to just have some questions to conclude private methods in interface. Possibly take 1 2 minutes break so that you can just fresh up and you can recall the private methods and can have some questions to conclude the topic so that we can get into static methods for next half an hour. We can just discuss about the static methods in interfaces. Is this clear for all up to private methods? Okay. Navya says no questions. Sangeeta says no questions. Let me check one by one so that I can get some more clarity. Abhinay, you have any questions? Akhila here, Anirudh here, Manoj, Monica, Navya already answered. Nikita, Pavan, Pranay, Prasanna, Shruti, Vishnu. Okay, thank you, Prasanna. Thank you, Pavan. Thank you, Abhinay. Thank you, Monica. You all understood what is the need of private methods? Nice. Okay, great. So I can see like no questions for now. Okay. So now let's move to static methods. Let's see what is the need of static methods here. Okay. So I don't know whether you aware of this concept or not, but I just try to give you a little glance to understand the need of static method. Always the need is important, I was keep telling, right? The need of default methods are important. The need of private methods are important. The need of static methods is important. But before I start, because you might have explored it, you might have learned before it. I wanted to know from your side, like, what is the need of static method, guys? If you know, then can answer. Otherwise, you can guess as well. It could be a good way to start any discussion. Okay. So if you don't know, also nothing wrong. You can privately text me. Just have a guess. What is the need of static methods? What is the need of default methods? What is the need of private methods? At least you can guess that what is the need of static method. But answer to the previous question I wanted to tell you was introduced in Java 8. Okay. Many of you answered correct that this concept is introduced in Java 8. So please, someone can tell me, what do you think the need of static methods? Organize reusable logic, that's logic tied to the interface itself. That's the use of private methods, right? That's very suitable for private methods, the one you told me. To write a method which is common for all implemented classes, which does not need to be called every time. That's again the use of private methods, right? Okay. No, it's not like that, right? Because static methods will not be called when the main method is invoked. You know the rule of private methods and static methods in interfaces. You cannot override them. You can call with class name. They're not bounded with objects. A lot of restriction with static methods. But why Java 8 people thought like to have a static methods in interface? Because sometimes, these concepts are very hard to justify in interviews. Okay. So that's why we always talk about the need. We always talk about the problem. Then we will see the solution in terms of this private method, static method, default methods and all. Okay. I will go with one example to make you understand. Do you know, like before Java 8, if you wanted to write any utility code related to interface, like a complex way to create an instance or valid input, you had to separate utility class like my interface utils. Java 8 simplifies this by allowing static method to define directly inside the interface itself. I know this definition does not make you any help. Let's try to understand this with one example. Do you know what is collection and collections? Anybody here knows what is collection and what is collections in Java? Have you ever heard about it? Little knowledge is also okay. You don't need to have the detailed knowledge about it, especially the people who are attending some additional sessions. They might have used this in your code. So you can please help us out. that what is this collection and what is collections in Java. It's one of the very important and very popular topic. We'll be discussing or we'll be covering this topic on Thursday's sessions because we will be practicing problems for placements. It's one of the very important placements concepts. If you tell I know Java but I don't know this concept, then you'll be out of it. Okay, because without this concept, your coding is very incomplete. We'll be having this discussion on our Thursday's session. So at the end, I wanted to have some discussion with you all, but anybody knows what is collection or what is collections. It's a framework. It's going good. So collection is a framework or it's an interface. Okay. It's an interface. Very nice. What it contains? What it contains, guys? Okay. It contains like built-in data structures like list. Very nice. Okay. It contains list. List again contains array list, linked list, and everything, right? It contains different data structures. In short, okay, in short, it contains different built-in data structures. And you know the importance of having built-in data structures, like yeah, hash map, hash set. Okay, you got. I mean, it can be dynamic data structures too, like hash or hash set. Very nice of you. So it's an interface which actually contains data structures, built-in data structures. Then what is collection, guys? Collections. Anyone? What is collections here? That's why I told you like this we will be discussing in our Thursday sessions. Okay, very detailed discussion we will be having on this because this is very, very, very important for interviews because unless you don't know what built-in data structures are available in Java, you cannot make use of. And this is the reason why it become a primary choice for the competitive coders to implement to use Java programming language for implementation because it has a beautiful concept called collection. Okay, we'll talk about it. This knowledge is enough for now that collection is an interface. It contains built-in data structures. It contains built-in data structures. What is collections then? What is collections? It's a package? No, it's not a package. You can see it's starting with a capital C, but good guess. Okay, at least you are trying to help me out. Others can also participate because if you participate in initial discussions, na, you might have seen like the whole concept becomes very clear for you. I'm not worried about it's right, wrong, or anything. Just participate in the discussion. What is this collections with capital C? It's a class. Very nice. So first thing I got the answer. It's a class. Okay, it's a class. Or in short, I will call it as okay. It's a class. Okay, it's a utility class. Utility. Okay. What it contains? Anyone? What it contains? What it contains? Utility, it's a class. It contains methods, but which methods it contains? Any guess? It will not contain interfaces. What it contains? It contains utility methods, like for sorting the data structures, for searching the data structures, and performing other operations. Okay. And as Sangeeta said, correct, they're all static methods. They're all static methods. Let me show you. Okay, let me show you. I know like this concept we have not covered, but at least in your regular classes, you might know this. Okay, okay. I just wanted to show you before I proceed, because if you understand this concept, you'll understand the need of static methods in. Now, let's clear the screen. First, let me show you the collection. So I say Java P, Java dot util dot collection. It's an interface. Okay, let me show you what is it contain. If you look at this, na, you can see here that it's an interface. Okay, collection is an interface. So I asked you here, what was collection? You told me that it's an interface. Okay, and what it contains methods for common methods for the data structures, like whether it contains some data or not. Okay, to convert into an array, to add an element, to remove an element. Okay, to retain all, to clear, to check equals. It contain all the methods which has implemented by different data structures. So this is the main interface for different collections like list, map, okay, set, all these things. So this is our collection. Is this clear, guys? Is collection is clear for all? What collection is? I'm not teaching collection and collections today, but to understand our next concept, at least having this fundamental knowledge is important. What is collection and what it contains and what is a relation between collection and collections is very, very important. Can I have a quick confirmation with everyone here? Okay, thank you, Sangeeta. So you all understood that collection is an interface where all data structures has inherited, and these are the methods which are implemented by all data structures like array list, vector, map, hash table, set. Only Sangeeta has confirmed. I need confirmation with everyone that is this clear for all of you? What is collection here? Okay, nice. Okay, thank you. Nice. Now let's talk about what is collections. Let's see what is collections. If I say collections, you see that I'm typing C capital. It's a class. Now you can see here, what is it? You see, first of all, can you see that it's a class? It's a class called java.util.collections. It's a class called java.util.collections. As Yashwant says, it contains some of the variables like constants and methods like for reversing the data structure, for sorting the data structure, for comparing the data structure, binary search, very useful class for performing shuffling, swapping, filling, copying. Okay, all these methods are available in this collections class. Okay, in this collections class. Got the point? What is the difference between collection and collections? Now, as a quick revision, can you tell me what is this collection here? What is this collection here? It's an interface. It's an interface. Okay. It contains all default methods. Okay. It contains all default methods and different data structures has been inherited from the interface. Interface. And can someone tell me what is this collection? Sorry, what is this collections? As a revision, please tell me what is this collection? It's a class. Okay, it's a class. What it contains? What it contains? Utility methods, right? Like sort method, a binary search method. Okay, binary search method, then reverse method. Okay, it's a utility class for helping the data structures now, for sorting the data structures, for binary search, for comparing, for reversing, for shuffling, all these things we can use. That's nice. And do you also agree that all of these are static methods so that I can call them directly with a class name? Right. Now, my question to all of you, why to have these two different things? Can I combine them in one? Can I add all these methods in this interface itself? How? How we can do that? Do you all got my point? My point was, why to have these two different things, collection and collection separately? Cannot we club them together as a single thing so that I can also write the utility programs inside this interface itself? Getting my point? Okay, we can do that if we can write static methods inside interface. Will it was allowed before Java 8 version? Will it be allowed before Java 8? Now from Java 8, can I do that? Can I also have static methods inside interfaces in Java 8? Yes. Okay. And I think this is the best example to explain to the interviewers that what is the need of static methods in interfaces. So instead of having these two different things like utility classes separate, I can write only interface and write all utility classes. I mean, sorry, utility methods inside the interface only. So no need to have separate collections. Got my point? Correct, guys? Did you all understood the need of static methods? Yes. Okay, that's nice. Okay, let's see. Let's see the concept, and then we have few questions to conclude. Okay, so here, uh, let's see what is the need of this. So the Java collection framework uses two distinct entities that is often confuse beginners. Actually, collections with small c, na, it's called framework. So don't get confused with that. Okay. It's collectively the collection interface and collections utility class. So collection is an interface and collections is a utility class. We have already seen this. The collection interface, which is java.util.collection, represents the fundamental data structures, the abstract idea of group of objects containing methods that every single collection object must be internally used, such as add method, size method, remove method. They have seen it. It's a collection of data structures, basically. It's a collection of data structures, an interface. It's an interface. Whereas, okay, prior to Java 8, interface could not contain static methods. So that's why if developers wanted to provide standard operations like sort, shuffle, and all, that could be applied universally to all collection objects. So could not place in interface itself before Java 8. So that's why collections utility class got created. It contains only static methods which perform operations on collection objects like sorting the list or shuffling the list, reversing the list, comparing the list, all that you can do with collections in utility class. So this established pattern of having an interface paired with separate utility class. So earlier to Java 8, for every interface, you may have utility class. Cannot we implement collection interface with collections class? That's what, Sarika. That's what we can do from Java 8 onwards now. From Java 8 onwards, you can write these utility things inside the interface itself now. So belongs to interface, not to object. They are called interface name, not the object because they're static methods. Cannot be overridden by implemented class because static methods are hidden. Now you can have static methods inside interface. Let's see this example. I'm writing one program called student utility. Okay. Static void show rules. Okay. This is a utility method. Let's say attend all classes, submit projects on time. So these are the utility method called show rules. Now, if I have a student implements the student utility, we can have greet, welcome to A's, and then we can have main method and call greet and call show rules method. So all these utility methods we can write inside the interface. Now, as a conclusion, we can see here that we don't need the two different things. Okay, we don't need collection and collections now. We can have only one. We can have only one. So we don't need collection and collection. Clear for all? The need of static methods in interface? The best way you can explain by using this collection and collections. Now, both are not required. Only one interface is enough because all utility methods you can write inside the interface itself. So instead of having two separate things, Java people decided, let's allow static methods because it's a very common problem. Let's allow writing static methods inside the interface so that you can write static methods directly inside the interface itself. Clear, guys? Any questions from static methods? Okay, you want me to show that example again? Okay. So in this example, Navya, we are creating one interface called utility directly. Okay, utility interface directly I'm creating. Where I'm writing static keyword, okay, for method before it, which has an implementation. What is the difference between default and static now? Default can be override and call outside. The reason is different. Here, static cannot be overridden because static methods cannot be overridden. It's purely for providing the utility for this particular interface only. Okay. So that other methods can make use out of it. Other classes who are using can make use out of it through interface only. So I'm providing a static void show rules, which will only display the rules here. Okay. So this is utility method for me. Now, if I have a class here, a student implement students utility, and then we have a greet method, let's say welcome to ACE, and then we have main method where I'm making an object and then calling the greet method gets called directly, and student utility dot show rules will display the rules now. As it is a static method, I can call with interface name. Navya, is this clear for you? That how we can provide the static method inside the interface? Okay, great. So there was this is the conclusion for private methods and static methods along with default methods we discussed in our last class. So now I guess you know these three addition in your concept. Okay, which previous code you mean, Anirudh? Okay. This is the code where I'm providing the static method, right? Okay, so now before we conclude for today's session, I have one question for you all. Like anyhow, we are learning some enhancement, right? I hope you're enjoying, and as well, it's giving you confident, like you're learning something additional. Okay, because generally JNTU will not expect you to know this default methods, private methods, and static methods, but interviews definitely, because unless and until you don't upgrade yourself, you're not fit for the placements, right? So that's a primary requirement for the placements. So that's what these sessions got started with, online sessions, and especially for the people who are interested to explore, go in depth of the concept, enhance more, and somehow it will help you a lot in JNTU as well, right? Because a lot of concepts we are covering, which are required for JNTU as well.